Hi.
Hi. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Apologies for the mix up. It happens. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, the technology always have like these problems. Sometimes they don't work. Sometimes they are it's really slow to. It takes time to connect.
Yeah. How is it going in Italy? What's the weather like?
In Italy, the weather is really hot, but I can say these days I'm in UK actually. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these days
Which part of the UK? Which part of the UK are you, or do you stay?
it is near the London.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. So, yeah, it's 5 p.m. now. So, just to save each other's time and also to just get things kick-started when more people join, like, as we have the conversation. Yeah, that's fine, but just to start things on time, we just kick off. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us. This is actually our first IG live and you are our first guest, so happy about that. So for those who may have joined or those who would join, my name is Gertrude Asumedu and I'm the co-founder of the Global Activist Network. And today we are here with, I'm so sorry if I do not pronounce your name well, please kindly correct me. Is it Shahrbanu? Is
Yes.
that the correct pronunciation?
Yes, this is
Okay. So today we are here with Shahrbanu Haidari.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank God. So yeah, we are here with Shahrbanu, who we'll be having a conversation with about her work, and we featured Shahrbanu yesterday as this week's Changemaker Spotlight. So we'll be shedding more light on her work and what she's been up to as a human rights and particularly women's rights advocate from Afghanistan, and what's been happening recently in the news as well. What some of us may have heard about what's going on there in Afghanistan as well. So today she'll be shedding more light on that. So do stay tuned, and then I hope you enjoy the conversation and it also inspires you to take action as well. So just to get things kick-started, Shahrbanu, can you just give us a brief intro about yourself and like what you do? And yeah.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for having me today. Actually, it is also for me the first time I join a IG live. So I hope it will goes very well. And as you said, my name is Shahrbanu Haidari, and also I'm from Afghanistan, the country which girls and women cannot go to school over the age of 12, and many women they cannot go to university. They are not allowed actually to go to university or having many jobs, or even these days our voice in public places banned, and our face in public places banned by the Taliban. Yeah. And also, I'm the president and co-founder of ASDD, it is a Italian name, and Associazione di Solidarietà Donne per le Donne, which means in English, it means Women's Solidarity for Women. So it is somehow this name is taken from the idea how we created this association for women refugee and migrant in Italy. So before 2021, I will start with that a little bit, give you more background on myself. I was teaching in a private university and also a teacher training college in Bamiyan in computer science subject is. And then I start my activism in like women rights activism in 2015 by co-founding a women council with a group of women in Bamiyan. So our goals was to bring together women from remote and remote and countryside of the Bamiyan to discuss their challenges and also find solution for them. In 2021, unfortunately, when Taliban came to Afghanistan and they regain actually power, and our country collapsed, I had to flee Afghanistan and like relocated to Italy. So that time I had really a deep depression because all of a sudden Taliban came to our country. They got the power. The country collapsed, and we found ourselves in new situation, in new environment, new country without understanding the language. So that time I shared the idea to other women, a group of women, 6 women, that how we can support and create a support network for ourselves, because the situation was like going through a nightmare for that time. So 6 women welcome my idea, and we together created this network, this ASDD, Associazione di Solidarietà per le Donne, to support each other. Actually, the idea it comes from that, and we registered this association in Italy officially in 2022. We start with our capacity, our experience, our knowledge. We had psychologists among us that she started organizing informative session to teach, or how I can say, to tell people how they can deal with their trauma, how they can deal with this situation. And after that, we organized many informative sessions on legal and refugee rights for women here in Italy, and we organized many online actually sessions to reach as many as we can to many women in Italy. So yeah, this is the idea how we created this association. And then I realized women activism can empower women to claim their places on decision making places, tables, and also participate in shaping their society. So, and also I studied a master degree in peace studies and conflict resolution. That it really gave me a powerful tools to keep up my activities and also keep going, and to advocate for women rights in Afghanistan, or women refugee who are arriving in Italy. And Afghanistani women in Afghanistan, they are marginalized group. When they are coming to a country, the new environment, new society, which they don't have knowledge of language, they can't communicate, they don't have job, financial support, they will become more marginalized. So this association was something to provide information, to be a bridge between the Afghanistani community in Italy with the Italian organization or Italian community, to become more close and to support women to integrate better in this society.
Thank you so much for that. That was really profound. And I think you may have spoken a bit about this in your previous submission, but do you want to share just briefly what inspired you to pursue this area of work?
So, personally, when I start my activism in women's rights, it's because what was going on in society, how our women, in my friends, they were struggling so much with like their rights. We in Afghanistan, even before 2021, we had many problems with like if a woman wanted to get a divorce, or if a woman wanted to find a job for themselves, there was a discrimination, and we were advocating for that. And access to resource also was another problem for women. So we were advocating for this to with government to bring and provide more resources, especially for women who really wants to getting involved in society.
Okay, thank you so much for that. That's very interesting. Now, just diving into gender apartheid as a theme, or as a global issue currently. Can you please elaborate more on what it is or what it means for those who may not really have an idea what that is, and linking it to what is currently happening in Afghanistan?
Okay. Let me first begin with what's going on in Afghanistan. And if you may heard about that Taliban are issuing many decrees and edicts to suppress women, to restrict women in Afghanistan. But I will share my personal experience with you to give you a more vivid picture.
Yeah, we really appreciate that.
Last year, I was sitting in library of university with my classmates. We were studying actually, and one of my friends, she's based in Germany now, and she called me and she shared a story that it was really heartbreaking story. One of her friends, her relatives, she was a young girl that she was like in school. And sorry, I hear a lot of noises. I don't know. It's from my side or not. Or it is normal.
Everything's from my side. Yeah.
Okay, it's normal. So, in Afghanistan, actually, she was in Afghanistan and she was at the school. When Taliban came, they banned the school for her, and she was staying at home. She had taken her own life, and she just, brought her school uniform and laid down, and after that, he ended her life. So many heartbroken. It was like shocking news for me, and even the worst part was like the family of this girl didn't wanted to share this news with the others, with the media, with the human rights organization. And my friend in Germany, she was telling me, okay, how we can let world know about this tragic incident. It is really hard. A girl, I can't understand her, how she was suffering, how much she was suffering in Afghanistan, and what was her feeling that day that he killed herself. But I can't understand that she lost her hope for going to or returning back to school until the Taliban are in power. So the, just we could do one thing for her, just to try to let her and let the humanitarian organization know and document this incident. It was, in Afghanistan, even this beauty salons are banned. Even women, they couldn't work on there in the beauty salon. or women, they can't go to like park or hospital without their male guardian, and it's really devastating reality of the women of Afghanistan, women in Afghanistan. And nowadays, you know, Taliban just issued a new decrees, which the women needs to cover their face in public, and or their voice. It's aura. This is aura, and we shouldn't go outside and sing or speak publicly in public. So this is reality of Afghanistan nowadays, and even domestic violence is increased. Because Taliban are implementing or violating women rights in public places. It basically transformed to houses, and in their houses also they experience domestic violence. And the worst part is, there is no protection mechanism for these women who are experiencing domestic violence. And when they are going to um, Taliban courts to say that we are experiencing domestic violence, and they don't have any other family to go to them, Taliban will send them to jail, because there is no safe houses, there is no protection mechanism for these women. So now, if I come to the gender apartheid, what is the gender apartheid? Now I can say this is what's going on in Afghanistan is the gender apartheid. Gender apartheid is a system that enforces subordination and separation of women through the unfair policy and decrees. So apartheid, for the term of apartheid, the first time used in South Africa, and it was described the racial segregation. And the same thing in Afghanistan, or gender apartheid, is segregates it about the gender. And also we can say about the gender apartheid, gender apartheid is not. The thing is, like, it's the first time women of Afghanistan used the gender apartheid when it was like 2001, the first period of Taliban in Afghanistan. That time also, women of Afghanistan, they were advocating for recognizing gender apartheid as crimes of against humanity. And this time also we have, with returning Taliban to power, we have this gender apartheid regime again in Afghanistan.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's quite shameful, and it's quite really like devastating, as like, in 2024, like in this current like century or world that we are living in, that women in countries that are being subordinated to some of, or being exposed to some of these very inhumane kind of situations. And you wonder, like, where are we heading to? Or like, because you look at the UN report that says we are over 100 years away from achieving gender equality, and if you look at some of these situations, it makes you wonder, like, how do we approach this? Or where are we heading to, as a world where women are being subjected to such treatment? But thank you so much for that submission. But in your work as a human rights advocate, do you think, or do you consider this gender apartheid as a crime against humanity?
So, in fact, now it is not a crime against humanity, but I believe it is a crime against humanity, and we need to advocate for that. And many organizations, and there is more movements that they are advocating for recognition and codification of the gender apartheid as crime against humanity. For example, ASDD this year with the Politics for Her launched a campaign, awareness campaign for we call it End Gender Apartheid in Afghanistan. Our aim is to raise awareness about this term and what's going on in Afghanistan for women, and also to get the condemnation of the global community for gender apartheid, and advocating and pushing to codification of this crime against humanity. In fact, in October this year, Legal Committee of UN will have a meeting on drafting the crimes against humanity. They're updating the treaty of the crime against humanity, and they will, the states member will vote for that. So we and many other movements, they are advocating for these ambassadors or state representative at the UN to vote for that and include the gender apartheid also.
And just a follow-up question from there. What are your expectations during and after that meeting? What do you expect to happen?
So now currently 10 states, which is include the UK and Malta, and I forgot the name of other states. They are supporting this idea to inclusion of the gender apartheid. But it is long. I think it is long-term advocacy process, and I really hope the states can push it and codify this crime, because especially after 2 weeks ago, the Taliban law on voice of women is aura, or face of women is aura, and many of states and many of organizations, they start supporting the idea of codification of gender apartheid as crime against humanity.
Fingers crossed. I mean, October is not too far away, so it's just next month. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully there's actually, a positive outcome. Thank you for that. So, where in the world currently are you aware that this gender apartheid is currently taking place as well?
So, in Afghanistan is the extreme version of the gender apartheid now currently, but elements of gender apartheid is also in other countries like Iran. For example, Iran is also another example of gender apartheid, which has so many policy and laws that restrict women access to education. For example, women, they cannot go to a sports stadium, and women, they cannot sing. They are not allowed sing, and they are not allowed in some positions, high-level positions. So, and they are restricting women, and also about the hijab, choosing their hijab. There are a lot of restriction in Iran also, which women of Iran, also Iranian women also, with us are advocating for inclusion of gender apartheid as crimes against humanity.
I mean, that is really extreme. Just a follow-up question. Now, we know that it's happening. Gender apartheid is currently happening in Afghanistan, and you also mentioned Iran. and there may be other countries that we probably, has not even, we've not heard it because it's not made it to the media. But just a follow-up question: do you think these practices are enforced or influenced by culture, religion, traditions?
So I believe it is mostly in related to misogynistic ideologies and also patriarchy systems,
Yeah.
and then it will have, yes, something like cultural reason, and also we have religious reasons. We have it, yeah, but mostly it is the big reason or the main reason is because of this, sorry, misogynistic
That's fine.
ideology.
That's very interesting because I mean, when you talk about, let's say, child brides or children not being allowed to go to school, I'm from Ghana in West Africa, and back in the day, there were families where the boys go to school whilst the girls stay at home, because it's believed that a girl going to school is a waste of time, because the girl would just be married off to a man, and they will have to be in the kitchen, or the girl's place is the kitchen. So all these things are fueled by patriarchy or misogynistic ideas. But obviously, as time goes on, as time has gone by, those ideas or those beliefs have sort of died down in so many parts of the country, and even in Africa. But I mean, of course, in other cultures or in other countries, these values are still being upheld, because there are still like over 100 million girls that are still out of school, and this also is influenced by culture then again, and also child brides, because some children or girls are handed over to be married off before they turn 18, which are all like practices that are they are deteriorating the quality of women's or girls' life, and the ability to grow and become their own, shall I say, become their own selves, like be able to go to school, be able to dream, be able to become somebody that they dreamt of whilst they're young, and be able to contribute to societies. Because there's this kind of popular saying that says, if you educate a man, you educate an individual, and if you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation, which reinforces the economic values that women have or bring to the table. So having this sort of thing happening, to a whole country, or to should I say girls at such a crucial stage, where we are just six years away from achieving the SDGs by 2030, is quite heartbreaking and shocking. But with people like yourself and the work that you're doing, and with people like ourselves as Ghanaian, with women rights activists all across the globe and the world, we hope to bring attention to these things, and not just bring attention, but also to work tirelessly to ensure that no girl has to go through this. But yeah, thank you so much for your submission so far. I would like to get your opinion on what do you think the main challenges are, in terms of the victims who are affected by gender apartheid. What do you think the main challenges are for them?
So in case of Afghanistan, I can say that women, they these days they don't have access to like education, to health services, and even justice. Women,
Yeah.
they don't have any access to justice because there is no any protection mechanism for women in Afghanistan. And Taliban, after regaining power in Afghanistan, they removed, or how you can say, they cancelled all of the constitution of Afghanistan. They cancelled the protection mechanism for women. They abolished the Human Rights Commission of Afghanistan, and they actually erased everything for women. And then the women, they cannot access to any justice. And the thing is, one problem for your generation, now currently for women who are living in Afghanistan. They are struggling with the economic crisis. They are struggling with the humanitarian crisis, human rights crisis, and so many things. And also, whenever they want to just go outside of their house, just go to shop and buy something for themselves, they have the feeling of fear, scared from the Taliban. They have also many mental health problems. They are facing mental health problems. In ASDD, we have an English course in Afghanistan. We are supporting around 20 girls that they are learning English language. So, like, after getting the certificate, they can apply for a scholarship and get out from Afghanistan. So, whenever we are contacting in with these girls and they are um, explaining or they are sharing their daily activity with us, it is really heartbroken, and we just are so proud of this girl that uh, they are hardly studying. They are trying to learn English. They are trying to have a little bit hope for their future. But the another challenge is for the new generation, the next generation. We will not have the female teacher in just 5 years. After 5 years, we will not have any female doctor. We will not have any. Even so, for now, women restricted. They need to go to the female doctor. The male doctors cannot, they are not allowed to treat women. So after 5 years, we will not have female doctor because we are not going to university. We will not have like teacher even for a school. We have elementary school in Afghanistan now, but elementary school also after some years we will not any educated women who become a teacher, or we will not have any. The new generation also are getting more marginalized like than the other women in the other countries.
That's. I mean, I don't really have the words to describe it. It's so sad. Like, really, it is sad and it is unfair, and definitely like this needs to end. Like, we need to commit to ending this. And when I say we, it's a collective effort, like activists like yourself, like civil society organizations, government leaders, and everybody needs to be on board, because this is not right and this is not fair. And this is an infringement on human rights. So moving on to the next question. So you mentioned something earlier about a meeting that's happening with world leaders or state members of the UN in October about committing to voting or ending this gender apartheid issue. So what do you think will be the effect if gender apartheid is recognized as a crime against humanity? What effect would it be in general?
So if gender apartheid is recognized as crime against humanity under international law, we will have the powerful tools to keep perpetrators accountable, like the Taliban. We can have take them to the court, international court or national court, because of their policies, but because of their regime and gender apartheid regime. And also it will um, impact on engagement of other states with the Taliban. Unfortunately, another problem is like many countries, they are engaging, they have in their engagements with the Taliban. For example, last year or this year actually, one of the Taliban member invited to Geneva in Europe. He was here, the Minister of the Health the Minister of Health of Taliban. He was here. He met one of the high level member of WHO, and and they are traveling really freely nowadays to the other countries, like in Asian countries or like Western countries. So if we have this gender apartheid as crime of against humanity, we can at least try to, if they are traveling to other country, we can take them to like court, take them to jail, and also
Yeah.
it will be a diplomatic, will give them like diplomatic isolation, and the other country will stop their engagement, their relationship. They will decrease, and and also about the humanitarian aids, and about their, yeah, totally in general, their engagement with Taliban will be decreased, and they need to stop by this law.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting to see a member of the same people who are, doing all this or causing this infringement to human rights on girls or women, hanging out or being seen with somebody at such a high level. Sometimes it leaves you with so many questions that, do you know this person at all? Do you actually not care about how it will actually look at, it will actually present itself to other people who are, look up to some of these institutions that are supposed to be fighting for their rights, which includes human rights. But just following up on that question, if eventually gender apartheid is recognized as a crime against humanity, what effect do you think would that be on governments? Example, like the Taliban, who have been accused or who are being accused of gender apartheid.
So, and the case will go through the International Court, ICC, or IGC, I think, yeah. And also, they will receive isolation. If the other countries stop their economic engagement with them, or stop their diplomatic relationship with them, they will get the isolation, and they will forced to set back from their rules and decrees. But to be honest, I can say that Taliban will not change from this idea, because Taliban, I believe Taliban has their own brand, and their brand is on base of misogynistic ideology. So they will never change until they are in power. And we hope, the state and other countries at least can support our movement, like, grassroots movement, that they are advocating for human rights or women rights in Afghanistan. And a state change their sides and come and stand with the people of Afghanistan.
Yeah, we can only hope, really, we can only hope that the world leaders, especially, do right by women, because I mean, at this point, it's really, like I said, it's shocking, and it's very unfair that people have to live through under such government or under such rules which infringes upon their basic human right. Now, just because we've spoken a bit about the international community or international organizations or institutions, what do you think in all this the role of the UN or international community is in ending gender apartheid, or to recognize it or end it?
Okay. UN as a diplomatic, I can say, UN has a really powerful role. If they can push it, because in October the treaty The treaty will the UN member of a state, they will decide how, if in gender apartheid include this crime sorry. I'm tired actually.
Yeah,
If
that's right.
the gender apartheid include the crime against humanity or not. So if UN member can push it, they will vote for that, and they will include it, and then we can move on and with the other mechanism and go ahead with like uh, international courts. And for international community, uh, for humanitarian and human rights organization, I can say they can be united and really uh, try to document the violation of human rights, women rights in Afghanistan, and just but the aid that they are providing in Afghanistan, they can keep this aid just in condition of the like women rights be respected in Afghanistan. It will be helpful for women in Afghanistan, and and if they can also support women movements from Afghanistan or locally in Afghanistan or here in diaspora, it will be help a lot, because they will push it and they will try to document and they will amplify the voice of coming from inside Afghanistan. I hope I can answer this question.
Hmm. Just still on the UN or United Nations, because the United Nations is a symbol of, like human rights, justice, equality, fairness for, on a global scale. Do you think, because this is not the first time you're hearing something like this, maybe not on this scale, but this is not the first time you're hearing something like this coming from Afghanistan or certain countries about women's rights infringement. Do you think in general the UN has done enough in addressing or in fighting some of these issues? I know it can be complex, especially when it's country specific or country centric, but do you think on like not on a scale of 1 to 10, but on like in general, do you think the United Nations has upheld that sort of symbol that it represents others in terms of fighting against some of these issues like gender apartheid?
Um, these days, the activists, Afghanistani activists and organization, they are actually these days. I think in Geneva we have the Human Rights Council meeting. I don't remember the numbers, but yeah, we have that in Geneva, and many of our activists, they are advocating for why UN didn't created a mechanism for documentation of this violation. After 3 years, we don't have any this mechanism. When even some humanitarian or human rights organization, or like even a special rapporteur of UN and human rights in Afghanistan, they are trying to document and they are writing reports, but no one of these reports are something that we can use it in the court. So it is not this mechanism. We really need like such a mechanism that they document every violation in Afghanistan, and we can use it later in the court. So I think, yeah, there is a double standard, because as we are discussing about women's situation in Afghanistan, and it is really extreme version of gender apartheid, and no one can imagine. Even whenever I want to say it to other people, they can't believe it. It is unbelievable situation. So it is severe situation for but they are not the UN. They are not do as much as they need to do for
Yes.
documentation or addressing this situation. UN has a really important role on this, but unfortunately, the problem is that many countries are trying to say Taliban has changed, and they will change, or the things will getting better, and they will say the problem is like that, and we are struggling with telling them, okay, after 3 years you can see clearly they didn't change, they haven't changed, and they will not change in future also. So I think, I believe, or I hope the UN will accept this and finally and try to put pressure on the Taliban instead of putting pressure on the people. Nowadays many Western countries, they are closing embassies of Afghanistan. So embassies of Afghanistan in Western country were open, and it wasn't like they didn't have connection with the Taliban. They were trying to solve the Afghanistani people problem here with like documentation, with documents, with other problems, as they are citizens of Afghanistan, and passport, and like this, etc. And these days, unfortunately, we are hearing that the news that all of the Western countries, they are trying to close the embassies, and the Taliban are lobbying to to take the embassies from the previous people, and have the connection Taliban. And I'm afraid, actually, from this situation, if is it mean like the Western country is trying to start have more engagement with the Taliban or not? Actually, it is scary for me. I don't understand about this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole lot to like dissect, and yeah, it's quite ridiculous to expect them to also change or not take action because you expect them to change, because I mean, it's just like somebody showing you who they really are and refusing to believe that that is what they are, and then wanting them to change for whatever reason. And we are talking about people's lives, we are talking about basic human rights here, which is being taken away. And so this is not something that should be dependent on the oppressor's willingness to change or the oppressor changing in the future. It's just a matter of action needs to be taken, and taken now. So just moving on to the last question, or yeah, maybe not, but yeah, last question for now. As a human rights and women's rights advocate, what are your personal recommendations towards ending gender apartheid?
So the first recommendation will be recognition and codification of gender apartheid as crimes against humanity under international law. And the second one is like to put pressure on the Taliban. And the third one, to support women movements who are advocating for this situation. And I believe this is not just problem of women of Afghanistan. This is like something I believe the feminist organization or feminist or women rights movement need to be united and push it back, because it is a patriarchy system. It is a misogynistic system, and I believe if we don't stop it in Afghanistan, it will be transformed to other country, to other region also. It is a critical moment for us, especially for women rights activists, and like not just Afghanistani women. It is just for all of us to be stand against this gender apartheid regime, and to say that we will not accept this gender apartheid in any country in any in all of the over of the world. So it is the last my recommendation.
All right, and just to wrap up, sort of everything that you said so far. Thank you so much again for being with us and talking about this very important issue at such a timely discussion as well. What will be your message to, first of all, the Taliban? And what will be your message to world leaders as well, especially next month, where the UN member states will be deciding whether gender apartheid should be included as a crime of humanity or not?
So my message for the Taliban is we will not stop even in this worst situation. Even we are in tough situation because women inside of Afghanistan still they are protesting against this regime, and they are going to the street, they are doing their protests in their houses, and women who are in diaspora, they are trying to speak up for this situation. We will not stop, and we will not just sit and see what you doing. And for the leader of world, I have this message. Please stand with the women of Afghanistan and take action. It's really rights. You can protect and you can have the peace and security in your country. Women rights is not separated from the peace and security in other countries. Women rights is really connected, and if we don't have women rights, is human rights, and if we don't have human rights in any country, we will not have it the other countries also. So
Yeah.
it is really important to keep it this thing in mind and fight with this regime.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. And yeah, do you have any last words as we wrap up this conversation? Anything?
No, I don't have any word, but thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about what's going on in Afghanistan and about the women of Afghanistan. And I'm truly honored to choose. I can. Sorry,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
go
also
ahead.
want to give this message to other women of Afghanistan who are in diaspora, who are in Afghanistan. Please don't lose your hope. Let's fight, and we will find a day, or we will finally arrive a day to that we will have our rights also in Afghanistan.
Yeah, definitely. You're welcome, and yeah, thank you as well for the work that you're doing with the organization, and also like as a women's rights advocate, speaking up and shedding light, joining us this evening to shed light on this very timely global issue. And we do hope, like with voices like yours and like ours, and people, human rights activists across the globe, we highlight the infringements of women's rights that's happening right now, because of Taliban, and also in other countries or in other communities that may not have come to the media yet, or may not have come to light yet, to be able to continue to use our voices to uplift women's rights up to the highest table, or to the highest point that we can. So thank you so much for joining us for this conversation, and we do hope that we bring an end to such things, or such infringements from happening, and we together we can close the gap when it comes to gender inequality. So thank you you so much, Shahrbanu, for joining us, and we do appreciate your time and your knowledge and your insights as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have
Thank
a
you so
nice
much. Yeah,
bye.
thank you. And yeah, we look
Bye.
forward to having a conversation again in the future. Thank you.